You know what, Jake? There are many reasons as to why I'm excited for today's Jake and Cory episode. And one I won't mention, but the second most important one that I'm excited about is that you're gonna give me stuff to watch. You're
That's
gonna
true.
give me things to watch, and just like last time, you did a movie episode or TV episode. I took note, Jake. I listened. I opened my ears and my heart. And I took it in. Yes, I did. And I enjoyed some of the movies. And because it is the holidays and I am fat and alone and unloved, the only thing that I have to look forward to is my Netflix and Amazon account. So today's show is going to be really exciting because the movies or TV shows or whatever the hell you're going to present to us out of that face covered by so much hair, I'm excited to watch.
I'm excited to talk about it. These are some of my favorite episodes to do, just because I like talking about movies. But I'm gonna pretend like we haven't had this discussion off mic, and Christmas just happened. How was your Christmas, sir?
We don't talk before the show. Jake, Christmas sucked. Next question.
Yeah, Christmas is awful. It's awful anyway, but it was extra awful this time.
No, this Christmas was awful. Christmas normally is, you can make it great. You can make Christmas great again. But next Christmas, Jake, I'm telling you this right now. You know what? It's not just about Christmas at this point, Jake. Jake Woods, do you hear the words? It's not just about Christmas. When this COVID shit is over, number one, I'm kissing everybody on the mouth. I'm licking tongues. I'm going to French kiss more people than I know. People that I don't even know. I'm going to print up a shirt that says, COVID is over. Can I kiss your mouth? Men, women, dogs, fish. If you've got a mouth, I'm kissing it. If you got two, fish? I'm kissing it. Do fish have mouths, Jake? Do fish have mouths?
I guess
then I'm
they
kissing
do.
it.
I guess they do. Yeah.
I'm kissing everybody on the mouth. I'm doing 2 Christmases next year. I'm doing 2 birthdays next year. I'm going to make up for this tumultuous time that we've been living in. I'm going to unleash it on people that are going to allow me to unleash it. I am never going to meet another stranger a day in my life. No one will ever be another stranger after COVID is over. If I meet you face to face or virtually and you have a mouth, I'm going to kiss you and I'm going to make you my friend.
And then COVID ends, someone comes up to you at like a bar or something, and you're like, just fuck off, okay? I'm not trying to meet new people. Fuck off.
Everybody's going to go from Zoom to their phones. Right back into their phones.
That's true.
Hell. Christmas blew this year. I don't want to talk about it because I don't want to hear about your good time, Jake. I don't.
I didn't really have a good time, but
no,
I think.
Were you in a room by yourself with nothing but Twitch.tv on your monitors? Huh? Were you?
I mean, close enough. I was at work, but
then it was a better time than mine, Jake.
Maybe. Yeah, Christmas to me is always just like, I don't know. It's like this corporate holiday disguised as a Christian holiday. And I don't buy into either of those things. But I enjoy it for the kiddies. I like seeing the smile on a child's face when they get their new scooter or whatever. That's always exciting.
See, I don't have any more little bitties. I don't have any little kids anymore. My kids are hairy and opinionated now. They don't give two shits about the magic of Christmas anymore. So they don't care.
You should buy them all new scooters and just see how they react.
Yeah, buy them all new scooters. Buy my little girl a doll, a Barbie.
New Barbie, yeah.
On the last episode of Fat Guy Radio Show, I told a story about how my son was really disappointed that one year he wanted a remote control car, and he ended up opening up a gift that wasn't a remote control car. It was a car, but it wasn't a remote control car, and he was very disappointed by that. He's 20 years old now, and that had to be at least 10 or 12 years ago. And he still has that first car, that first truck that wasn't a remote control car. Now, he also did get a remote control car. It was just in another gift. But he was very disappointed when he opened the non-remote control car up first. But here's the funny thing is, the non-remote control car he kept, and he still had on display in his room. And I brought it into my show and showed it up on camera. And the remote control car, I believe that he broke that because he played with it too much.
Yeah,
but he was broke. He was busted, disgusted, and pissed off. I'll show the image to you there, Jake. That's as soon as it comes in the.
I like it. I can see it.
It's not in focus, Jake.
I could kind of see it.
I did get one Christmas gift.
Yeah,
and I don't even know who it's from.
Oh,
no clue who it's from.
I'll take credit then.
It was a food delivery, of gourmet English muffins from a company called Wolferman's. And it was this gift box, and it had wild Maine blueberry English muffins, cranberry citrus English muffins, cherry blossom English muffins. It had a couple of scones and a coffee cake, a pack of coffee, and some strawberry preserves, and it was all in this beautiful gift box that came in the mail. And I have no idea who sent me this, because it had it had no to or from on it, and I didn't eat it for about 2 weeks because it came 2 weeks before Christmas. I didn't eat it for like 2 weeks because I was afraid of it. And I'm like, maybe somebody's trying to poison me. But then I looked up the company, and I said, okay, this is
your
something
neighbor
that
is
people
still
do.
waiting for the Postmates.
No, it had my name on it, and it shipped in from the company. It was like one of those things where you order the gift box online and then they ship it. So it was from the actual company. Everything was sealed up real nice and tight, so it hadn't been handled by anybody. So, and I've eaten half of it, and it's delicious. Very high end and very nice, but I have no idea who it came from. No clue whatsoever.
It was me. I'll take credit. It was
that's
me.
So sweet of you to lie.
It was me. There's no proof that it wasn't.
There is no proof that it is. But that's
anyway, let's start the show, eh?
I'm not done talking about my gift. 5, 6, 7, 8.
What is up, boyos? This is the Jake and Cory podcast. I'm Jake. That is Cory. What's up, Cory?
Oh,
did I lose you? What happened there?
Nothing. That's all that's up is
Oh. Yeah, I feel that, dude.
I had that was literally my emotions coming into an auditory sound.
Well, today's a special episode. It's our next episode will be taking course on the what day is it? It'll be in the new year though. So
this is our last episode
before the new year, and I figured
I wasn't gonna add that on. I was just gonna say it was our last episode.
Well, that too, but I figure what better way to wrap up the year than another movie wrap up with yours truly and Cory truly, and we're just gonna go down and talk about some movies. All the movies I've watched this year. We've done 2 parts. I will leave links down in the comment section below if you want to see what other movies I've watched. I am curious though, before we dive into my list, have you watched any movies of note?
No.
Since the last one, Cory?
No. I watched a few that you had given me. And the only one of note was the one with the train and the snow train.
Oh, Snowpiercer.
Yeah. Snow liquor. Snow pissing. Wasn't that the name of the movie? Snow pissing.
Yeah, snow pissing.
Yeah, snow pissing. Don't Google that, ladies and gentlemen. But Snowpiercer was the one that most notably sticks out in my craw. I haven't watched anything since. I've been doing just a lot of network television watching, and I could use some movies right now because a lot of my regular network TV watching shows are on hiatus right now, and they're not back until like the middle of January or the end of January, like The Good Doctor on ABC, and other shows, that I like to watch. So I need some movies, and I got a lot of time on my hands. And since you went away, boy. That's a black song. You know nothing about it. But I've cut the cable, the TV cable completely. Actually, Jake, really quick side note. I've not cut the cable figuratively. I've cut the cable literally. I had a fight with Cox Communications once again. And a very, very quick story here. So the house next door to me had been remodeled, placed on the market, and sold. My neighbors that lived there before never had Cox Communication services. And they haven't had Cox Communication services for probably 8 or 9 years. Well, about 5 or 6 years ago, Cox Communications decided to give me 2 lines because they had an open line that no one else was using. Well, now that the house has been remodeled and flipped and the new residents have taken residence there, they ordered Cox services, which made the Cox take that other additional line away from me. So I had 1 line coming to my house that was only for internet and 1 line coming to my house that was only for TV. That is no longer the case anymore. So when the technician told me they can no longer give me 2 lines by no fault of anybody, I decided to have him just leave the TV line literally, physically cut in the Cox box on the corner. So there is literally a cut TV line that is labeled my address number TV line, and the only line that's still connected is my Cox line, because my house is wired so bad that if my internet, like a normal home, you normally have your internet feed coming in and your TV feed coming in off of 1 coaxial cable. Well, my house is wired so ass backwards, it's impossible for that much power to be put in to the house where that the TV would work and the internet would work. It would always be one or the other. It would either be the internet that would work or it would be the TV that would work, and the vice versa would suffer. So I had 2 lines. I can no longer have 2 lines because my new neighbors are as rich and can afford cable. So now I literally am paying for TV services that I do not have.
And then Cox is like, well, we're going to give you half the services and charge you the same amount.
And that's exactly what's happening for the next 2 months because I'm stuck in one of those Cox Communication contracts.
Even though they fucked your contract. Even though it's their fault.
Even though they did. Yeah, they screwed it up years ago, and now I'm suffering with it. But I had my TV services that I had with Cox was the equal to what I'm getting through an antenna. So I was paying for something that I could have easily been getting for free. And that's a stupid mark on my half. So I would say that the stupidity moves made are 90% Cox Communications, 10% Cory.
At least you're owning up to some of it, you know?
I'm owning up to some of it. I'm owning up to some of it, but I'm sorry, I'm getting a call. But that was my Cox story. So now that I don't literally have TV and all I have is my streaming services, movies are exactly what's in order now, Jake. And I'm excited for your list. And also, I'm excited that I don't have to work so hard on this episode.
Well, let's get into the list. Should I do like a rundown of all the movies we've already talked about, or should we just jump into?
You know what, Jake? There's new people that trip over this show all the time because the last time you did this, we weren't on a lot of the platforms that we're on now. So there's a whole new whole new segment of people that may be getting this show. So I think that you should give us a brief synopsis of what the shows that you've already covered, and then go into the new shows. Are the new movies.
Okay. We'll do a quick recap where I won't even do a review. I'll just talk about the movies we talked about before, and if you're interested about the mini reviews, then you can go back to the old ones, which I will leave in the lower section down below. So Joker, The Irishman, Marriage Story, 1917, Two Popes, Birds of Prey, Super Size Me 2, Fighting with My Family, Big Time Adolescence, The Platform, Parasite, Snowpiercer, Star Wars Episode 9, Drive, Emperor's New Groove, Fathead, Fat and Back, Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery, and then the rest of the Austin Powers movies, Creed 2, The Core, My Friend Dahmer, Rocco, Honey Boy, Mid-90s, V for Vendetta, Dark Knight Rises, Richie Rich, Eurovision Song Contest, The Story of Fire Saga, Uncut Gems, Hamilton, Spirited Away, and Palm Springs. So those are all the movies we talked about in the past. Let's get into the current list.
The Core was interesting. I remember that. When you said that, I remember watching The Core. You said it was cheesy and stupid, and it was, but I rather enjoyed it because I'm cheesy and stupid.
Yeah, that's true. You are.
Thank you, Jake.
The first movie I saw after Palm Springs was actually Christopher Nolan's Tenet, which was like the first, it was supposed to bring the movie theaters back. Like that was the movie that was supposed to bring the movie theaters back, and it did not. And the only way I was able to watch it, because they refused to launch it on streaming services because Chris Nolan's a giant idiot, was for me to go to a drive-in theater. So my experience was a bit tainted by the drive-in experience. The screen was dark. My speakers were ass. Like it just wasn't an ideal situation. I will say I was able to bring a full pizza in with me, which is a plus over the movie theaters, being able to eat a entire pizza while watching a movie.
You took in a pizza?
Hell yeah, I did, dude. I stopped by Domino's, got myself
the same person that sneaks a Coke can in his pants and says, "I'm just really excited to see the movie, so you don't have to pay for soda."
Yeah, pretty much. That's me. But Tenet, I was pretty excited about Tenet. It's Christopher Nolan. Christopher Nolan's done amazing things like the Dark Knight trilogy. He did Inception, Interstellar. I love all of those movies. Tenet is pretty okay. It's very confusing. It has a lot to do with time and time manipulation, and the movie takes place in forward time, and then it redoes itself in backwards time. It's really conceptually
like
heady.
Pulp Fiction, where is it out of sequence?
Well, the whole idea is that there is a machine that they go into, and then they go through the world backwards time. So they see everything happening in forward time and see people moving in reverse and stuff. And then halfway through the movie, they go in reverse time and see why all those people are moving in reverse as they're moving in reverse as well. It's a very weird movie. But it's not the concept that's confusing. It's really just how the story is laid out. Like Chris Nolan just cared more about the concept than the actual plot of the story, which the plot of the story is really confusing and like a really confusing James Bond movie almost. Robert Pattinson is in the movie and he does an amazing job. It's nice to see Robert Pattinson do something other than
the vampire.
The vampire, yeah. And yeah, he did a great job in the movie. But
that
yeah,
dude's dreamy.
He is dreamy. I agree. But yeah, it's an okay movie. I did post a video on the channel about Tenet as well. So, Mulan, I watched Mulan. That was sort of around the same time as Tenet, but they had a different rollout than Tenet, where Tenet was refusing to release in anything other than, theaters. Mulan actually dropped on Disney Plus for an additional like $25 or something, and Mulan was fine.
You watched it on Mulan for the extra money on Disney Plus?
Yeah, my sister had bought it for her kids, so I just kind of used her account.
See, I'm kind of thrown by that because there was another one that just happened. The black guy that turns into some blue goo movie came out.
It's called Soul. Yeah.
Yeah, Soul just came out and they dropped it, and it was starring that weird piano player looking guy for Jimmy Kimmel, and or not Jimmy Kimmel, Steve Colbert. And I was wondering, like, why is it only on Disney freaking Plus? And then that was just weird. I don't like how the movies are dropping out like that. I don't like how like this. I mean, I know this isn't happening a lot, but why would you promote it? I mean, they promoted that movie like it was going to theaters, and the whole time it was just going to Disney Plus.
Because originally it was going to theaters, but they decided to launch it on Disney Plus instead. And it's
theaters are open though.
Yeah, it's also in theaters. It's on Disney Plus and theaters. Yeah,
I thought it was just Disney Plus only. I didn't like that. The mouse. I have to have a conversation with the mouse.
We'll call up the mouse and see what he's up to.
Someone get the mouse on the phone.
But Mulan as a movie, it's just like it. I don't know. I don't get these Disney remakes. I don't know why they keep remaking these movies. I don't get it at all. I enjoyed the action in the movie. Like, the action was cool, but it's Mulan without any of the singing and stuff. So, like, that's cool. That could be done well. But it just felt, like, very formulaic and, like, let's get to this next scene, the next scene. They added a new villain for some reason. They gave Mulan superpowers. It almost felt like a superhero origin story. It was weird. I liked seeing Donnie Yen kick some ass because Donnie Yen's awesome, and Jet Li was in it too, and he kicked some ass, and that was really cool. But the movie was like meh. It wasn't bad. The action was really cool, but
we've discussed why they keep remaking these movies. They're out of ideas.
I think it's the money. I think
it's the money, but it goes back to
it's a sure thing.
It goes back to Walt Disney, the actual creator. Walt's original vision at one time was that they would keep remaking. That's why we have the Disney Vault. They would keep remaking movies of old for newer generations. Every time the generation, because Walt understood that people's mentalities would outgrow some of the products, but those people that outgrow those Disney movie products are going to have children. And so by remaking the movie, it would reintroduce that product of old, so the parents can say, "Hey, I saw this movie when I was a young kid. Here's a movie of your time that just came out," and that's the connection, and that was the vision of Walt Disney.
I get it, but like they all just feel so lazy and just like
but they're not lazy to someone who's never ever heard of Mulan. There are kids that went and saw Mulan that weren't alive when the first one came out.
But now with things with like Disney Plus, like I don't know, and like especially a movie that like came out in the 90s, like I don't know, a thing like Jungle Book makes sense. Like let's revisit this movie from the fucking 50s or whatever, 60s. Like that makes a little sense to me. That was forever ago. But then like a movie like Mulan or Lion King, where like Lion King especially, like that movie just, it holds up really well still to this day. And then just making a live remake, it doesn't sit well with me.
Well, it was the same thing. The first Lion King came out in 1994.
Right.
And then another Lion King movie came out in 2019. We did get Lion King 2, Simba's Pride in 1998. That kind of was a flop.
But that was more of a direct-to-video thing, yeah.
True, but it's also the same thing like The Wizard of Oz and The Nutty Professor. The Wizard of Oz came out, the first adaptation of it came out way before the Wizard of Oz that we all know today.
Right.
That was a remake, and there was another Wizard of Oz. The Nutty Professor was not an original character developed by Eddie Murphy. The Nutty Professor was actually a Jerry Lewis movie from the early 50s. So,
true, yeah.
But what happens is that the people that were really excited about The Lion King in 1994, they most likely outgrew that franchise by the time the 2019
thing about Lion
King
came out. The thing about Lion King versus like the Wizard of Oz, adaptation that you were talking about.
Yeah.
The thing about Lion King is it's a shot-for-shot remake almost. Like almost entirely a shot-for-shot remake. The only difference is that it's quote-unquote live action. And to me, that just takes all of the character that was once in the movie with all the colors and the lively animation. You take all that away and you create a far less enjoyable movie. Whereas like Wizard of Oz, the original one was in black and white. It was kind of shoddily done. And then the new Wizard of Oz came out. These bright colors, like the whole idea was
newer actors, undiscovered talent. I understand what you're saying, but Jake, look at the time frame though for The Lion King. 25 years separated those two movies that were shot for shot the same remake. A lot of things have happened in that 25 years. The people that were really excited for the first movie outgrew anything that would have been Lion King. So all of the young people that would have saw it redone, even though it was live action, it was shot for shot, same storyline, blah, blah, blah. You could say the same for The Jungle Book. The Jungle Book also had a live action reanimation. I'm just pointing out that
But Jungle Book was different because it was a totally new adaptation of Jungle Book.
And it also and The Jungle Book also has different endings as well. The storylines have been skewed several times over the years,
and that's also like a timeless story. Like Jungle Book goes back a long time, even before the original Jungle Book movie.
Yeah,
whereas like Lion King is an original property that was made in the 90s. It's a little weird, and it's based off of Hamlet. So just make another Hamlet movie, I guess.
That's true. But I think that with Hollywood being out of ideas, and then they can ride the coattails of Walt Disney's vision of reintroducing these brands to newer generations, is one of the reasons behind why we're getting remake after remake. I find it as annoying as all hell. I never saw the Lion King remake until it aired on TV because I already knew the story. I already knew the end. I knew how it ended. Mufasa was still going to die. And that was just proof that all cats don't land on their feet.
Anyway, let's keep going down this list.
Let's keep it moving.
These next 4 movies I talked about with my sister in our
wait a minute. I don't want regurgitated movies.
Right. That's why I'm saying this. We'll run through this real quick. We talked about these in another video. Go find it on the channel. We talked about it, our hate-its and favorites. But one of the movies that we watched was a movie called Gigli. Absolutely garbage. The worst movie I've ever seen. I am positive that is the worst movie ever made. It's cinema's vomit. Starring Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez. Oh, just awful. Forgetting Sarah Marshall, fantastic. One of the best rom-coms ever made, ever. Hilarious movie. Every time I watch it, I can't help but laugh. Even if I'm watching it alone, I just laugh alone, which is a weird thing to do, but I do it anyway because I can't help it.
Wait, it's weird to laugh alone?
I guess. I don't know. I'm assuming.
Breaking news whenever it feels like breaking.
10 Things I Hate About You is another fantastic film starring Heath Ledger and Julia Stiles. I fucking love this movie. Just a classic romance, a classic tale of guy who doesn't like girl turns out to like girl. It's amazing. Starring Joseph Gordon-Levitt as well. I love it. It's a fantastic movie. You should watch it. And then we watched a movie starring Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan, which is a movie I don't like much, but a lot of people love it. But I think this movie's garbage. But the scenery in it's really good. It's called You've Got Mail. Also pretty dated.
You've got mail.
Yeah, exactly. It's based off of the AOL You've Got Mail thing. But just horrible people in that movie. Anyway, now we're done with that section. After that, I watched Scott Pilgrim. Scott Pilgrim is a problematic film, but it's one of the flashiest films I've ever seen. It's so wild and like kooky, and just the visual stylings of Edgar Wright, the director of this movie. It blows my mind. I don't know how he did a lot of what he did.
Why do you mean flashy? Like flashy in production or flashy in like costuming? What do you mean by flashy?
In production. Like it's based off of like a video game character, but it's like a comic book thing, and the whole idea is that he has to beat his new girlfriend's evil exes. And it's just so flashy and ridiculous, and it's a fantastic film. It is kind of problematic though with some of its themes, but like the fact that it's just so visually stunning. It's made by the guy who made Shaun of the Dead, if you've ever seen that. It's a great movie though. Definitely worth the watch. The music in it is just like super killer. Yeah, I don't know, if you haven't seen Scott Pilgrim, you should definitely watch it. After that, I watched a movie called The Social Dilemma.
Where is Scott Pilgrim at? Where do we get it? Amazon, Netflix?
I think it's on Netflix now. Yeah.
I'll look it up.
The Social Dilemma was a Netflix documentary about how social media is basically killing everybody, and we're all gonna die, and social media is going to take over and influence everyone to make poor decisions. And I couldn't help but feel like while I was watching it, this is just propaganda. And I really feel like the documentary underestimates humanity. I don't know. I get the point of it, but a lot of it was like stuff that like, yeah, we all know this. Like we all know that there's some shady shit going on with social media, and we're all aware. But maybe the documentary wasn't for me in that sense. Yeah, I don't know. It was a big talking point a few months back, but like, I didn't buy it. Parts of it I did, but like, I didn't really buy it. Did you hear about the Social Dilemma at all?
I have heard about the Social Dilemma. I classified it as a ticking time bomb hidden in plain sight. Basically, it's literally the industry telling us and revealing to us that they are fucking us at every turn. Everything electronically is more invasive than it is supportive. And I believe by putting out a movie like Social Dilemma, they think that people are going to watch that and say, oh yeah, this is just overblown and this is exasperated. And it's not. It literally is the truth disguised as an overblown disaster.
Know. It's like talking about how like it's going to lead to nuclear war and shit. And it's like, I don't know, man. I feel like
may very well, dude. Social media, we know that social media is too invasive. And here's the thing. We're all mindless fucking drones. There's something new. Let's TikTok.
Well, then we deserve it then. I mean, like...
I'm not saying we don't.
Social media is just exposing people for what they really are, and if people have an issue with that, then stop using
people for what they wish they were or who they wish they were. Social media is nothing but a facade of the good things. You don't put people's real lives on social media. On social media, people are projecting the good shiny parts of their life.
Of course. I don't know. I just feel like it's one of those things that like when the next generation comes up, they're just like not even gonna give a shit. You know?
I hope they don't. I honestly hope that they don't. But that movie,
I really feel like people give too much credit to like Facebook and stuff, and they don't realize that like who knows, like in 2 years, people could like totally just stop using Facebook. We've seen it happen before with MySpace, where people just stop using it. Like that could totally happen with Facebook next year.
But the only reason why people stopped using MySpace is because Facebook came along. And it was
not true. That's not true.
Next big. You don't think that's why people jumped off of MySpace, because Facebook did everything MySpace wouldn't do?
No, because I feel like MySpace, first of all, allowed you to do a lot more. I just feel like people got over MySpace, and I think people use Facebook because of the convenience of it. They like Facebook because it's like, oh, well, I've got friends on there, and it's easy to like communicate with them or whatever. That's why I use it, just for like Facebook Messenger. It's like easy to message someone. I feel like the whole posting thing, that's all like my fucking grandparents and stuff. I'll post like a meme or something on Facebook, and like, who gives a shit? The whole like it's influencing the voter population or whatever. I don't know. I feel like the next generation just won't give a shit about that kind of stuff.
I hope they don't, because our current generation, we've given way too much power to these social media companies.
I think it's also like the older. It's also the older generation who just like don't get the internet very well as well, who are just like easily influenced by stupid shit because they've been so coddled by living, I don't know, without the internet, I guess. And now they're
older generation?
Yeah. I think the older generation is way more likely to buy into a bunch of bullshit propaganda on Facebook. The older generation is the one that sees the email from like the Saudi Arabian prince who has $1 million headed your way. You know, you get that email. It's like, I'm a Saudi Arabian prince and I want to send you $1 million. The older generation are the ones that fall for that, not the younger ones. You know, there are stupid young people. Don't get me wrong, but really, the older people are the ones that bought into the whole Trump thing. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, it's debatable, and that's a whole nother different show. But I believe that the movie that you're mentioning, I believe it's just an evil hidden right in plain sight. I literally think that it is. They're telling us that this is for, it's for entertainment. They think the market is stupid, and quite honestly, the market reacts very stupidly. So they put it out there, and then when it does come to fruition, when all these things are brought to light, then they can say, hey, we tried to warn y'all ass. Hell, even The Simpsons did it. The Simpsons predicted Trump's election.
Yeah.
Hidden in plain sight, baby boys. Best place to hide.
The next movie I watched was a movie called Ad Astra, which I enjoyed thoroughly. I really, really like this movie. I could see people not liking it because it is sort of a slow burn. It has, if you've ever seen Stanley Kubrick's 2001: A Space Odyssey, it's a lot like that, where it's just like, let's show off some really cool special effects. Let's just have a slow, sort of moving movie where a guy's going through space. It's starring Brad Pitt, and it's just Brad Pitt doing things in space, and it's visually stunning. There's not much of a story there. There is a story there for sure, though, but like just the visuals of it and the visual theming, it's wonderful. I really, really enjoyed it. I could see people not liking it much, but like I really fucking liked it.
It's getting an 83% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's available on the HBO Max platform, Hulu.
Yeah, that's where I watched it.
Premium, and Amazon Prime.
Yeah, it's a great movie. It's really good. The next movie I watched was a movie called Richard Jewell, which was directed by Clint Eastwood, actually, and it's about the story. There was a bombing. I can't even really remember when it was. It was like the 80s, I think.
The Centennial Olympic Park bombing in 1996.
Okay, it was the 90s? Okay. Yeah, so there was a bombing in the 90s. This is based on a true story, and the security guard who pointed it out got accused by the media and just got like harshly criticized.
I'm so fucking old, Jake. I remember this. I remember the news coverage. I remember all of this, man.
Yeah, and this is a movie about that, and it's about like how the lawyer comes in and kind of tries to save the day a bit. Turns out Richard Jewell did not do it and really should be recognized as a hero, and I think that's what this movie is trying to do. I think Clint Eastwood literally made this movie so we can remember this guy as a hero.
Yeah.
And not the monster that the media tried to portray. It's also a statement about the media, which, you know, how many more times do we need to see that done? But like, you know, it is a statement about how the media fucks things up, and they create a narrative that isn't true, even because they want it to be true. And it's
I remember doing a paper on this story as it was happening, as it was unfolding. And I remember seeing this movie being advertised, and I was kicking myself that I didn't go back and watch it. And I think the reason why I didn't go back and watch it is because I lived it. But I remember this story, and I remember this because this dude was a fat face with a mustache, and I just remember his fat face and mustache when I started seeing these movie promos come out.
Yeah, he looks like Paul Blart Mall Cop. Yeah. Yeah, and you know, Clint Eastwood as a director is sort of a boring director. He doesn't do anything like flashy. He's very straightforward. Lots of just like wide shots, just with a lot of exposition, and that's kind of his thing. And I think it's mainly just because, you know, Clint Eastwood is old and probably just wants to film the scene and get out of there.
And Kathy Bates is in this movie.
Kathy Bates is in this movie.
Love Kathy Bates. My God.
Me too.
My goodness. I love me some Kathy Bates.
Oh God, Misery is such a good movie.
Oh Jesus, dude! It's you know what? That's what I should have watched on Christmas.
Oh, it's a weird Christmas movie, but fantastic.
I would, or Rosemary's Baby.
Oh, I love Rosemary's Baby. Holy shit! What a great movie.
He's got his father's eyes.
His what? His father's eyes. Oh God, it's so good.
Eyes. He chose everyone out of the world, and out of the world, he chose you.
Hail Satan! Hail Satan! Oh God, what a great movie! It's so good. We can't talk about the director though.
No, we can't. We can't. Oh my
man.
God. Oh, 1960.
The next movie I watched was Good Boys. This is another movie where we've talked about it in previous movies that I watched on this list, where it's kids doing adult things in movies. You know, this was like made by Seth Rogen. And it's about these like 8th graders who get into a bunch of hijinks, and it's a nasty, like, gross sort of comedy, you know, just like a gross out comedy. Like, think of like Superbad. It's sort of like Superbad but younger kids. And yeah, it had its moments where I was like, that's funny, but it's one of those things again where I'm like, I just don't like it when kids are in movies.
It's Sethy, is it Sethy? Is it Sethy Rogen-y?
Yeah. Yeah, it does have the Rogen vibe for sure.
I have a problem with the Sethy Rogen-y. Like, he's just like, some of his movies you just watch and it just looks like he just showed up, blitzed 5 Shades to the Wind and directed the movie.
He's not in the movie.
I know, but even when he's directing it, I'm not. I don't know. I don't think I can recall any good Seth Rogen movie that made me do backflips with excitement.
Superbad's really good.
Superbad annoyed the hell out of me.
So yeah, I don't have much to say about Good Boys other than like kids in movies doing raunchy things always makes me uncomfortable.
There were no sex scenes with any of the kids in it, was there?
I don't think so, but
or
like
sexual situations.
It's still just sort of weird to me. I also just don't like kids on a film set. I just don't like it. But anyway,
I'll never.
The next movie I watched, whatever. I mean, you can look at like any child actor, unless they have a really good family support system, they always end up being crazy, and that's because they're just abused by the film industry. But that's another conversation.
Yeah, but that was
time.
That other movie that you had mentioned to me that had kids in it that you said was really, really weird. The one with Shia LaBeouf in it.
Yeah, Honey Boy.
Yeah, Honey Boy. And you thought that was weird. I watched that and I thought that was an intriguing storyline. I thought it was an abusive storyline for Shia LaBeouf's father, but I thought it was different. I didn't see what you're saying, but you've always had that hang up. You've always had that hang up.
Yeah.
And it's and other people share that. I just don't see it. I don't see it, but other people share the same way that you feel.
I just don't like kids in movies. Just don't put them in there, you know?
No kids in movies, no kids in grocery stores and no kids.
If there's a way to make the movie without a kid, Just do that.
Just be born an adult. Be born an adult. Don't come out as a kid. Come out as an adult.
True. Well, just the film industry is just so nasty and grimy, even for adults. So, just throwing a kid in there is just weird. But the next movie I watched was another Tom Hanks, Meg Ryan film, much like You've Got Mail. I watched the movie Sleepless in Seattle.
Oh, God. Are you serious?
Yes, I did watch Sleepless in Seattle. It's cheesy. It's creepy. It's a creepy movie, honestly.
Does it hold up to today, though? Does the movie hold up?
I don't think so, because I think Meg Ryan's character is really creepy. She like creeps on Tom Hanks like really hard, and like flies to his town even though she's never met him. She's never even talked to him. She flies to his town, stares at him, and goes back home. Tells him that she wants to meet him at the Eiffel Tower, or not the Eiffel Tower, the Empire State Building, and those are totally different things. But
yeah, they are.
But like they meet at the Empire State Building, they exchange one scene together, and it is at the very end of the movie, and they hold hands and go down an elevator together. That's the movie. And this is regarded as like one of the best rom-coms of all time. I disagree. They have like no chemistry.
Someone creeping on somebody sexually unwarranted, that's just weird. I mean, I would never stand for that.
Okay. But this is like supposed to be regarded as like, oh, look at it's like a feel-good rom-com. And to me, it was like, this is creepy and weird. I don't like it.
You're going to get hate because Sleepless in Seattle is a cult classic for a lot of people.
I know. Just like You've Got Mail.
You've Got Mail.
I will say, like, they nail the look of Portland, and they nail the look of Seattle. Or
wasn't it shot on location?
They nail the look of Seattle, and they nail the look of Manhattan. Like the aesthetics.
It wasn't sound staged, was it? It was all real.
Yeah,
IRL.
I'm sure.
Right?
I'm sure, but like even like when they're inside of a house and stuff, like just the look of it and like the set design and set dressing, it's all very nice. No. So I'll give it credit there. Just like You've Got Mail. The set dressing is all very nice.
You've Got Mail.
The next movie I watched was Borat's subsequent movie film. We talked about this movie quite a bit already, so I'm just gonna move right on. The next movie I watched was the first of a group of movies that I wanted to finish before the end of the year, but it turned out to be the only one I ended up watching. It was 007, James Bond, Casino Royale. And goddamn, that movie's fucking awesome. It's such a good movie. Just the action is just, it's next level. Like you go back to like the Pierce Brosnan James Bond and you're like, this is fun and campy and shit. But then you watch Casino Royale and you're like, holy crap, these action scenes are incredible. Where like the dudes are like jumping off of cranes and shit and like doing pull-ups onto buildings while other parts of the building are exploding and shit. And then there's car chases and it's not like just explosions to have explosions. You also like feel the tension and you're like, oh God, I hope 007 makes it out of this, even though you know he is, but like you're like, oh man, is he gonna die right now? I really hope he doesn't, like you feel the tension. It's a great movie.
Shaken, not stirred. Stirred, not shaken.
Yeah, it's a real good movie. The next movie I watched, this is a weird movie starring Joaquin Phoenix, and it's called Her. It's a lot like Joker in a way, just in the sense that it's a character like study sort of piece where the movie is all just sort of focused on Joaquin Phoenix. Every other character besides like maybe one other character is sort of just like background to what Joaquin Phoenix is going through. And it's a movie about him going through a breakup and he falls in love with an AI. The AI is played by Scarlett Johansson. And it's really fucking weird. It's a really strange movie where there's like this touching love story between a man and an AI, and then he's like going on double dates with his like friends from work with his AI girlfriend. And then it turns out that the AI is cheating on him. And then it turns out that the AI is cheating on him with hundreds of thousands of different people. And
the AI is a hoe.
Yeah, so spoilers. And then it goes into like, what does it all mean? Like, what is the meaning of this AI relationship if there is no human connection? And then he ends up with Amy Adams in the end. Spoilers. But it's really an interesting movie. I don't want to say it's good. I don't want to say it's bad either. It's just a fucking weird one.
See, when you go right down the middle like that with your presentation, that draws me to it.
You should watch it. It's a fucking strange movie.
It's 2 hours and 6 minutes long. Good God Almighty!
It's not that long.
It's available. Yeah, it is 2 hours and 6 minutes. I'm reading. Here off the intranet.
That's not that long of a film, is what I'm saying.
And it's available on Netflix.
Yeah,
and Amazon Prime for $3.
Yeah, it's a weird movie. But once again, Joaquin Phoenix just like knocks it out of the park, just like he did in Joker. Like he's just a great actor.
He's such a weird actor, but man,
he's a strange little man. The next movie I watched was another sort of weird movie starring Jennifer Lawrence. It's like a thriller, and it's called Mother! ! It's this weird movie, dude, where like the whole time you're like, what the fuck is going on? And like people just start showing up to the house. Her husband is like an author. Turns out she's pregnant. More and more people start showing up to the house. Then like cultists start showing up to the house. The house gets raided by the SWAT, and there's like a big like revolutionary war going inside of the house. She has the baby, and then the husband like hands the baby to the people. The people rip the baby apart.
What the hell?
But then when you look deeper into the movie, it's an allegory for the Bible. And
I don't even know what allegory is.
What?
I don't even know what allegory is. What is allegory? Is that Al Gore's cousin? I don't know what's
it's
an
like,
allegory. What the hell?
It's like an analogy, like sort of thing. It's like it's a take on the Bible.
That's too much thinking when I'm watching a movie. I don't want to turn my brain on.
So like her husband is like God, and she is Mother Earth, I guess, is like the take on it.
All right,
it's really
too deep.
Really yeah.
Hey, Jennifer Lawrence, go back to shooting arrows in the forest. Come on.
Yeah. Go back to painting yourself blue in X-Men.
Yeah.
So after those like two pretty heady movies, I wanted to lighten it up a little, and I watched Thor Ragnarok, which is I think it's my favorite MCU movie. It's so fun. It's hilarious. It's the only MCU movie I watch and I just die laughing because it's just so funny. Because it's directed by Taika Waititi, and Taika Waititi he helped create Taika Waititi. He helped create Flight of the Conchords, if you know Flight of the Conchords.
Yeah, birds. Yeah.
He helped create Flight of the, it's business time. You remember Flight of the Conchords?
No,
okay.
Concorde is a bird and it flies.
Yeah, okay. But he just created this really hilarious movie about Thor going to another world with Jeff Goldblum, and Jeff Goldblum's fucking hilarious. He fights the Hulk. I mean, what else do you want? It's just an amazing movie.
Wow.
If you want a good ass time and just want to laugh a bunch at Thor, that's the movie. It feels more like a comedy than like an action movie. It's hilarious. The next movie I watched was Last Christmas, which I talked about a bunch in another video, so I'm not going to touch on it too much. But it's just, it's meh. It's not that great.
Nah.
It's a take on George Michael's Last Christmas, and in the song he says, "Last Christmas I gave you my heart," and the movie is about a lady who got a heart transplant.
I thought it was going to be a love story.
It is, and then I mean I'm spoiling the movie pretty heavy. It is a love story, and then at the end you find out that the person she fell in love with is dead, and it's the person that gave her the heart.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
You might like the cheese. I didn't like it that much.
I do love cheese.
Then the movie I watched after that is an absolute classic. One of my favorite movies. Classic. One of my favorite movies, a movie that influenced me, created me, turned me into who I am.
Ooh.
Shrek.
Oh, God.
Somebody once told me the world was gonna roll me. It's amazing.
I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed.
She was looking kinda dumb with her finger and her thumb. Oh, it's amazing.
And I'm not even gonna of an L on her forehead. Yeah,
I'm not even gonna. I'm not even gonna talk about Shrek because we all know Shrek is amazing.
Shrek is life. Absolutely amazing. Shrek is life.
Shrek is love. Shrek is everything. Moving on.
Now we know what's made that what is at the core of Jake Woods. Shrek.
Moving on is a movie that I hadn't watched since it released, and I think I was in high school, and for the longest time I always equated this movie to The Hangover. I always thought this was just like female hangover. It's a movie called Bridesmaids, and this movie is so much more than The Hangover. This movie has some deep character development. The romance in it you actually feel, unlike The Hangover where it's just waka waka, joke. This movie has a lot more heart to it, I think. And Kristen Wiig actually acts her ass off in this movie. She's actually really good. Maya Rudolph is amazing in everything she's in. Yeah, it's a solid film.
I'm not a Maya Rudolph fan.
You don't like Maya Rudolph?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I know some people don't like her, but I think she's great.
She's just so... She's like a dry mouth. You know?
Yeah.
She's just like...
She's just a dry mouth.
She's just a dry mouth. I mean, there's her no
Kamala's
point
great.
to it. You know what? I hate that you brought that up.
You don't like her Kamala,
huh? I don't like her Kamala, but I'm also starting to get annoyed with the real Kamala speaking. her I'm not. So Joe Biden, you know, I'm starting her voice is starting to turn into nails on the chalkboard. And I love you, Kamala. I love you, Kamala. Sign language, maybe don't speak. Your voice is starting to it's starting to get to me. And in the interviews, hi, you know what Joe Biden is? It's just starting to get to me. And when Maya does it now just sounds like she has this she cannot hide the... I got it. Her voice is the audible version of the resting bitch face. If resting bitch face had a tone, it would be our vice president's speaking voice. I'm sorry. I still
Vice
love
President
her.
elect.
Vice president. We don't have a vice. We haven't had a vice president for the last 4 years. A real one. But I still love her. I still support her. I will always support her for the next 8 years.
My feeling on Maya Rudolph.
Just don't speak. And Maya Rudolph is you know, she's a dry mouth. She's a dumpster fire. Useless.
I feel like Maya Rudolph is a great like accessory to comedy. She's like the spice to the comedy, you know? Like she's not like the main dish. She's not the main course of the comedy. That's like a Will Ferrell, you know, or an Adam Sandler, I guess. Too. But like Maya Rudolph, when she's ever in like a sketch or a movie, she always adds to it, in my opinion. I think she always adds to it and makes it funnier.
She's a big bucket of okay with a side of dry mouth in a dumpster fire driving down Fifth Avenue and 4th in New York.
Okay. The next movie I watched was A Quiet Place, and we are getting to the end of the list here, so no worries. But A Quiet Place was a movie starring and directed by John Krasinski.
Did you watch part 1 or part 2?
Is part 2 out yet? I don't think part 2 is out yet.
Oh, it's not. I'll be over here.
But yeah, I had never seen it before. A Quiet Place, though, I liked it. I like the idea of you can't talk and you're raising kids in a world where you literally can't make any noise. But there are some like large flaws in the movie. For one, he takes his son to a waterfall and he screams in the waterfall and he says, "Look, son, we're safe here by the waterfall. They can't attack us here because, the waterfall drowns out the noise." So my thought process was, why don't you live near the waterfall? Why don't you dig a hole in the mountain behind the waterfall?
Yeah.
That was like a big one for me. Like, what the fuck? Why don't you just live instead they live in like the middle of a desert near nothing instead of near the waterfall where they go fishing for food anyway. Makes no sense. But still a good movie if you overlook these things.
If you overlook a few things, it's a great movie. Like overlooking the entire movie.
It's very well acted, and I buy the like connection between him and his daughter is deaf, so she has to deal with a world where she has to be completely quiet and she has no idea how much sound she's making. So it's like an interesting idea. And
it sounds like a remake of the Helen Keller story.
Well, no, this is a horror movie where if you make noise, a monster comes and kills you. But it's cool.
Oh,
it's
so basically, it's a story about when Cory's trying to balance the books in his office, and if you make noise, I come out and I kill you.
True. That is a stressful moment for you, huh?
It's a very stressful moment.
The next movie I watched was a movie that it's a holiday tradition of mine. I watched The Santa Claus starring Tim Allen. The movie's not very good, but it is a holiday tradition for me. It's a good one to watch with the fam. I don't know. It's just I don't know. It's a Santa Claus. I don't know, man.
I guess so. I don't know how close you are to the end of your list, but I am waiting for a movie to see if it's on your list.
I think I have like 5 more movies here that I'm gonna run down real quick.
Go ahead, because I'm looking for
Santa
one
Claus,
movie.
It's a movie
that I want to know if you watched over this holiday.
Are you talking? I can't hear you. You're muted.
I wanted to know if there was a movie that you had watched over this holiday break.
Okay.
So I'm looking.
Do you want to ask? Or
no, I'll wait. I'll wait till the end of your list to see if you have it.
I think I did. And I think you're gonna be happy about it.
Okay.
I watched a movie called The Happiest Season. Talked a little bit about this with my sister as well in another video. But it's a movie about. It has Kristen Stewart, another callback to Twilight. But her and another actress who I don't know her name. Play a gay couple. They're going back home to meet the other girls. Harper is her name in the movie. They're going to meet her family. She hasn't told her family that she's out, so they have to pretend like they're not dating and that she's actually just her roommate. It's a very cute movie. I liked it a lot. I enjoyed it. There is some problems with it though, but it's good. It's a good one. I liked it. It's on Hulu. It's a Hulu original. The next movie I watched was a movie called The Invisible Man. This was one of the top grossing movies of the year because of course it was, because it came out in like February before everything locked down. And I liked it a lot. It's nice to see that they're doing monster movies right again, because for a long time they were trying to do these like big bombastic monster movies where it was like Tom Cruise starring in The Mummy, and it's like this big action blockbuster, and they tried to create this like connected cinematic universe with all the different monsters like Frankenstein and stuff. But this movie takes it back to its roots and really just makes a suspenseful, horrifying movie where the whole movie you're like, oh God, I hope she makes it out of this. And it's really good. It kept me on the edge of my seat the whole time. I really, really liked it a lot.
Nice.
Yeah. The next one I watched, I think this is maybe the movie you were waiting for. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is Die Hard. I watched.
That was the movie I was waiting for. Nakatomi Plaza! Yippee
God, dude.
Yo, mother.
Mr. Falcon.
Mr. Falcon.
Yippee-ki-yay, Mr. Falcon.
Yes, this was the movie that I was hoping, because I do believe that Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
I think so too. It takes place during Christmas, takes place during a Christmas party, and it's also about friendship and the love of your family. I mean, what else is more Christmas than that?
True.
And also, I will say, after watching it again, it's been a while since I've seen Die Hard. This movie holds up incredibly well, like super well. Like you really, it's another one of those movies, like I was saying with Casino Royale. You really feel like the tension, like every shot that is shot in that movie, you feel it. Like you're like, oh God. But it's also like jokey and sort of campy as well. But like it's really good. It's really the height of Bruce Willis at his like action career. It's the start of it too. But
it is a great movie. That is one that would be on rotation if it was on TV, which it is, because it's been out since 1988, before Jake was even born. It's a great movie and it holds up. 1988, I was like, I don't know, 40 years old or something like that. It's a great movie, and it is Bruce Willis at his Bruce Willisness.
It's so good. I love that movie, dude.
But that was the movie that I was looking for, and it has the father from Family Matters, Reginald Vell Johnson, in it, and I find that freaking hilarious.
But this was like his breakout role. This was
way before Family Matters. Family Members didn't come out until the 90s, but yes, this was the movie that I was looking for on your list.
Oh God damn, it's such a good movie. So after I watched Die Hard, I was so hyped up on Die Hard that I wanted to watch Die Hard 2, and I wish I didn't, because Die Hard 2 does not hold up as well. No. It really takes the hype of the first movie, like, which is just so enjoyable and just so fun to watch, and you feel everything and you really connect to the charisma of Bruce Willis, and they take that and totally kill it in the second one, where it just feels like an action schlocky sort of movie, you know, like it's just another action blockbuster. There are some moments in there that are like kind of enjoyable. I think the scene towards the beginning where he has the shootout in the conveyor belts in the airport is a notable scene, but like, yeah. And like no one compares to Hans Gruber, you know, like as a villain. So I was going to watch Die Hard 3 and I didn't, because I watched Die Hard 2 and I was like, I don't even want to watch the third one.
Yeah, just pass on that.
I haven't watched these movies in a long time, probably since high school. So I don't remember them too much. But I've often heard that like Die Hard 3 is far superior to Die Hard 2, and like Sam Jackson really elevates the movie a bunch, but I don't know. Maybe I'll give it a shot later. But I did not end up watching it. So instead, I ended up watching Demolition Man. Another sort of 80s, 90s schlocky action movie, but like with the intention of it just being a schlocky, futuristic cyberpunk schlocky movie starring...
Schlocky.
Super schlocky.
That's a great adjective. Schlocky.
Yeah, it's got Sylvester Stallone just being at his most Stalloniest, you know, just
get to
being,
the chopper.
That's Arnold, but you know,
screw it.
Adrian.
I screwed up my muscle man. Damn it.
But yeah, that movie's awesome. Yeah, Wesley Snipes is awesome in the movie as well. It's it's a fun movie. It's not like a good movie.
No.
It's not good at all.
No.
I would argue Die Hard is a good movie, but Demolition Man, not a good movie, but a very fun watch.
Yeah.
And then the last movie I watched, I actually watched it last night. It dropped on HBO Max on Christmas. I had to watch it. Wonder Woman 84 came out. I've been hyped on this movie, been so excited. The first Wonder Woman movie is awesome. I love that movie. This movie isn't as good.
Wow.
It has some moments, like at the beginning, it's got like some super cheese, like Wonder Woman stuff where she's like catching people with her whip and stuff and like knocking them down, and it's got that like nice 80s aesthetic, and she's like kicking cars and like standing with her arms crossed like Wonder Woman would. And like I love that stuff.
The lasso of truth, Jake. It's the lasso of truth.
Yeah, and there's even like a scene where she's flying through the sky and she uses the lasso to like Spider-Man her way across, and the way she does it is she grabs onto lightning bolts with her lasso to pull herself. It's so awesome. Like that stuff is really good in the movie. What's not so good is like the story, and I will say Pedro Pascal as Maxwell Lord is really good, but like I don't feel like they invested enough time into him, and that's insane because the movie's 2.5 hours long, and you really feel it. It's such a long movie, like an unjustifiably long movie, and the like connection between her and Kristen Wiig's character, she plays the cheetah. It just it could have been so much better than it was, but it wasn't bad. It just wasn't as good as I wanted it to be. So that's my list.
I am excited. That was a great list, Jake. I wrote down a few that I will watch. I will watch Her. I'm going to look up Her. And just because I did think about watching it during the Christmas break, I will watch Die Hard. I will.
Hell yeah, you will.
But you know what? I did watch, well, I will say most of the movie watched me, but it was on last night as I dove deep into some of those weird channels on over-the-air TV, and I came across this network called Bounce. Never even knew what the hell it was, but a network called Bounce, and they had on The Wiz.
Oh, wow.
And it was at the part of the movie that is my favorite. Don't you bring me no bad news. At that number in the song, I love that entire scene and the choreography that happens during that scene. And if I was to research it, I would imagine that that's probably one of the largest cinematic choreographed filmed scenes that were danced and sung. And it was shot at so many different angles. I could only imagine how many takes it took and how tight all of those dancers had to be. But it's one of my favorite scenes out of that entire movie. But I caught The Wiz. It was on like at 1:30 in the morning. And I was singing it while I was, drifting off into La La Land right before, I cried myself to sleep.
Yeah, I haven't watched The Wiz in a very long time, like since I was a kid. Like,
I love The Wiz. I've always loved Diana Ross, even though she is a raging bitch. And I do love Michael Jackson, even though he is a raging bitch. But I freaking love that. Well, my number one all-time favorite movie is The Wizard of Oz. As you can see, I have one of the original movie posters over my shoulder that Jake can see. And The Wiz is the African-American, the Afro take on The Wizard of Oz. And I love it. I love both of those movies. They are just absolutely amazing. The soundtrack is phenomenal to the movie. It draws on long and long. It's a little longer than it should be, but I loved it. But it was on TV on this network called Bounce. Never even heard of it. It was deep in the 40s.
That probably made it drag on even longer with the commercials and stuff.
Oh yeah, well I think I drifted off to sleep as they were turning the Tin Man and they were flattening him out, and then I woke back up to after Dorothy had flushed the lady down the toilet, and they were all, and then all the clothes fall off all the people, and everybody's dancing in their underwear. It's a great movie. It's a freaking great movie. Nothing better than a movie with 200 clothesless dancers. You put 200 clothesless dancers. You should watch
Cats.
In a movie I'm watching. No, because they're clothesless, but they have fur. In The Wiz, terrifying. In this scene, you got jiggly boobies and jiggly bulges. So it's something there for everybody.
Yeah, I should go back and watch The Wiz. I haven't seen it since I was young. So
I love that movie. I absolutely love it.
Wizard of Oz, though, that movie still holds up for being as old as it is.
Oh, The Wizard of Oz, I can watch it any day. And you know what? I own it. Every time I see it, I cry.
Me too.
Every time.
Me too.
The Wizard of Oz, I cry. Where the Wild Things Are, I cry. I will cry. I love that storyline. I felt like I was Max my entire life. When it was a book and then they made it into it was a cartoon, then they made it into a live action movie. When they made it into a live action movie, I just fell in love with it all over again. You can't see it in my background, Jake, but I also have a movie poster that I had custom made of the book cover of Where the Wild Things Are, the original book cover. So I love those. Wizard of Oz, Where the Wild Things Are, all of the Hunger Games, the Jungle Book, the old cartoons, the live action remake. You got those on your TV screen. You got Cory sitting there wanting to snuggle bug with you and watch it.
Well, that has been the movie recap that everyone's been.
It's a good job, Jake. Another stellar job.
We'll be back for part 1 of the movie recap in probably like 3 or 4 months. So
yeah, 2021, where life
2021,
where life.
Hopefully
would be
Hopefully we get more new movies, and I can actually talk about like newer movies other than, just a bunch of old movies.
But I'm an old dude. I like it when you go back. I mean, you went all the way back to 1988 with the damn Sleepless in the Seattle. I like it when you go back. I like when you do the newer ones, but don't forsake going back.
I do love myself an old movie. Anyway, that's the show. I appreciate you guys listening. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you like it or whatever. Make sure you check out the other shows on the channel. Of course, the Loner Gamecast and the movie show that I do with my sister. Yeah, that's it. Make sure you check out Fat Guy Radio Show on everything that it's on as well.
And on that note, on Fat Guy Radio Show, for those of you that are getting this show now, special announcement. On New Year's Eve, we are giving and streaming one of our bonus episodes for free. And we're giving you a glimpse into the uncensored bonus content show, a Fat Guy Radio Show called Afterburn. So look for that on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. We will be streaming that. And if you subscribe to Fat Guy Radio Show on any of our popular podcast platforms, you will also be getting a free downloaded audio version of one of our bonus shows, completely uncensored and commercial free. So that is how we are kicking the new year off, with a gifted sub to our bonus show. So check it out. You'll hear us like you've never heard us before.
Very nice.
5, 6, 7, 8.